Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be talking about how to mix an acoustic guitar for a typical pop rock song. In a previous video I've demonstrated techniques and ways of recording an acoustic guitar to get it inside of Pro Tools or whatever DAW you're using to record with. In this video though, what I'm going to do is show you after you get your recording of the acoustic guitar inside of Pro Tools, what can you do with it, processing and things like that, so that it sits well in your mix and it cuts through so you can hear it. So let's get started. Now in previous videos I've made, some people have requested that I show you how to mix with a full song. So depending on the instrument that I'm discussing, in this case acoustic guitar, show you how to mix it, but also have some backing tracks and things like that going on, so you can see how it will fit in with other instruments in a full song. So I'm just working with a demo that I've been working on for a little while. I have some drums track, tambourine. I have my two acoustic guitar tracks, and I'll discuss these more in a little bit. I have two rhythm guitar tracks. One's a Strat, one's a Les Paul. And I have them bust out to this electric bus right here. I have two lead guitar tracks that kind of alternate back and forth throughout the song, so it's really just one at a time. I have echo going with that. I have similarly some bass guitar tracks going, my master, and then my talkback mic for the video. Let me switch over to the mixer, so you can really see what's going on. So this is the session. Like I said, here are my two acoustic guitar tracks. I have the drums and percussion over here, electrics basically, and bass. So there's nothing really fancy going on. It's pretty straightforward instrumentation for a typical pop rock kind of song. What I've done is, just so you have an idea, with the guitars, I have them panned out a little bit to the left and to the right, acoustic guitar. And then for the rhythm guitars, the electrics, I have them panned out much further to widen the stereo image of the song. And I have these going to this bus track right here. Then I have this lead track, and I have that in the center. Same with the bass. I have that in the center, and I have this echo going on for the lead guitar here. And so the reason why I do this is I have these two acoustic guitar tracks and the rhythm guitar tracks. By painting them out like this, what I'm trying to do is make some space for the lead guitar to be in the center, and the bass as well. So these two acoustic guitar tracks are actually they're two separate recordings, but they're basically me playing the same exact part. So let me play you back the song, and so you can hear all the instruments and hear the acoustic guitars. And these are just the raw recordings that I've got of the acoustic guitars, no further processing. What I've done here is I have one acoustic guitar track that is recorded with an Rode NT2 microphone. I have the microphone pointed at the 12th fret of the acoustic guitar, about 6 inches away. And then my other acoustic guitar track is a Fishman Aura. And if you're not familiar with the Fishman Aura imaging pedal, check out my other video or other videos on YouTube so you can see what it does. But basically you plug your guitar in directly to the imaging pedal, and then it transforms the sound of your magnetic pickup on your guitar into the sound of a really nice microphone in a really nice studio. And I highly recommend this kind of thing for anyone that's using or recording in a Project Studio. And you'll hear it in a second to see how it sounds. But without further ado, let me play you back just the beginning part of the song, and you can hear how everything is sounding right off the bat. right, so nothing too fancy. I've pretty much mixed a lot of the other instruments already, but I've left the acoustic guitars as they were originally recorded. So let me play this back and let you listen to the two things, the part in specifically. All right, so you can hear, for the most part, I had these two acoustic guitars playing the exact same chords and things like that. Well, I intentionally record two separate takes of it so that they're a little bit different. I can put them on the left and on the right here, panned out a little bit, and have it still balanced in the mix. However, rather than have one track and pan it to the center to make it balanced, I like having two that they're a little bit different. Based on how I strum and things like that. So what that does is give you a nice stereo image of the acoustic guitars. And I think that usually fits well in a mix. So I do the same sort of thing with electric guitars. I'll play them back so you can hear the rhythm guitars. Oops. All right, so that's the general idea, and I definitely recommend this sort of thing if you're mixing some kind of pop or rock kind of song, to double your tracks and have multiple takes of the same part, and just put them on the right and the left and things like that, because it kind of thickens up the mix, because each part is a little bit different. So that's basically the setup for the raw tracks and why I've got them the way I've got them. Now I'll play you each the individual tracks so you can hear the Rode NT2 microphone, and then I'll switch over to the Aura so you can hear that. So you can hear they definitely have a different kind of sound to them. They're both different. They're both unique. I think that they kind of complement each other by the different sounds. It's the same exact acoustic guitar, the Martin DM that I've used in my other videos. It's just by recording it in two different ways, you get this different kind of sound for each of them. And they're both, I think, by doing that, it makes your mix kind of unique, and rather than just having a single part that you're kind of blending together. So that's what the basic sounds are. What I'm going to do now is start mixing the individual parts. For now, I'll just pan this to the center because I'm going to focus on the Rode NT2 microphone. And then in a second, I'll come back to the Aura and work on that. So first thing I like to do is when I'm starting to process it, is to think about how this is going to sit in the mix. Now, I guess it's for a second worthwhile just playing it back a second time. And what you'll hear, at least what I'm hearing, is that the acoustic guitar is kind of in the mid-range, sound a little... they don't sound very clear. It makes the kind of mix sound muddy because you got a lot of mid-range in the acoustic guitars, and it doesn't really sit well with the lead where you want the lead to have that main melody, and which needs a lot of mid-range to cut through. you don't want the acoustic guitar to kind of get in the way of that. So let me play it back, and you can take a listen to basically my interpretation of what I'm hearing. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to work on, and I think that also it could use some more high end, some more air in the sound, so that it will kind of fill out that space in the mix too. That's a good thing about the acoustic guitar is it has a lot of the high mids and high frequencies to kind of add that frequency range to your mix, where something like an electric guitar, something like that, is more low mid range of frequencies. So I guess I'll start with here the Rode NT2 first, and I'll talk about what I'm going to do here. First thing I'm going to do is some subtractive equalization, and I've talked about that in some of my other videos, but for this video, the reason why I'm doing that on the acoustic guitar is when I recorded it, I know that there's just some frequencies that kind of resonate too much, just because I recorded it, with a microphone in this room. There's no acoustic treatment or anything like that in the room that I recorded, so it's very likely there's some resonant frequencies that I want to take out. And also on acoustic guitar, I think it's usually a good idea to kind of cut some of the low end. So I'm using the Renaissance EQ from Waves here to do this. I like it. It's got, this is the Ren EQ6. So it has right now it's set up to have a high pass filter here in the first band, but you can also switch that to different kinds as well. But I'm going to use a high pass filter. You can change the Q to change the slope. And what I'll do is just play it back, and what I'm trying to do is very gently take out some of the low end so that there's space for the bass guitar and ultimately singing and things like that, to kind of fill that low end, because I don't want the acoustic guitar to be in that frequency range. So you just bring it up. Alright, I like what that's doing. Unless you're listening to this on some nice headphones or speakers, you might not be able to hear this over YouTube, but just taking out a little bit of that low end so it doesn't muddy up the mix. Next thing I'll do is boost a little bit with a sharp Q. And kind of sweep the frequencies to find where in the mid-range it kind of resonates. So I'm not pulling out very much, just about 2 to 3 dB here. Same, I'm going to look and see if there's any more frequencies that I don't really like. Alright, let me, actually I'm going to do the same over here on the Fishman aura. Same idea, some kind of subtractive equalization. For this one, I'll change it up and I'll use a version of the Q10 from Waves. You can obviously, with this plugin, you can have as many as 10 bands, but I don't need 10 bands, so I'm going to use fewer bands. I'm going to do the same sort of thing, kind of where I'm sweeping frequencies, and let me take out some of the low end here first. All right. Same sort of thing. With this one, you can't really change the Q to change the slope. And the gain doesn't really do anything either on the high pass filter. Just clean it up, very subtle amount, and use a sharper Q here. Find some frequencies worth taking out. Alright, so let me show you what I've done so far by painting these back out again. You can hear just what I've done to clean it up. So to me, it sounds a little bit muddy, things like that. Just by doing a little bit of EQ, I've cleaned it up a fair amount for the mix already. Without even boosting anything in the high end, I've already added, there's some extra clarity that's in the mix. By cutting some of those bad mid-range frequencies, the high end is going to be emphasized already for sitting better in the mix. So I'll play it back in the beginning. Alright, I like that so far. Next thing I'm going to talk about is there's some kind of special effects that I like to use, and specifically it's something that's become more popular recently is these kind of console emulations that add some kind of nonlinear harmonics to the signals that are coming in, and just to kind of change things up, I'm going to use the Slate Digital Virtual Console collection. So I've used some Wave stuff so far. Now I'm going to move on to some Slate Digital stuff. And for the the Rode NT2, let me play back this one. And I'm going to use the Neve version in the Virtual Console collection VCC from Slate Digital. Just what you do is use the drive to kind of increase some of that extra analog color, analog drive, or nonlinear harmonics that you're adding into the signal to give it a little bit more character. And make sure I've got this set up with some oversampling. I'm using the ultra high, and I'll play it back and play with the drives, give it a little bit extra. a very subtle effect. All right, so that's that. What I'm going to do is also move this over to the Fishman Aura recording, and for this one I'm going to use the SSL model, console model, and let me play it back so you can hear it. All right, so that's the kind of console emulation kind of plugins that I'll use all over my mix, from drums to bass and guitars and vocals and stuff like that. I like to use that as kind of like a special effect. It kind of takes away that harsh digital kind of sound and hopefully warms it up a little bit, so that it sounds more analog, whatever that means. It's difficult to describe, however I typically like it, and it's kind of something that you add in subtly all the way across your mix on all your instruments, and it doesn't add a whole lot to each of them individually, but when you listen to it across your whole mix, you say, oh, that's that console emulation plugin that I've used on all my tracks is doing a lot when it's on your whole mix. Another kind of special effect that I like to use, similar to the console kind of stuff, is to use a tape machine plugin. And so I've used the Slate Digital VCC. Now I'm going to use a Slate Digital VTM virtual tape machine plugin. Kind of similar to VCC, this is a special effect kind of plugin. And what it does is it emulates the sound of recording going onto tape. And so the console plugin adds a little bit of analog color and to your recordings, kind of takes away some of that digital sound. Same with the tape machine plugins. You can use them kind of working together, where the tape machine does its own kind of special sound to your recordings, and adds something else. It takes a little bit off the high end, kind of beefs up the low end, but in a very musical way. When you use it across a lot of instruments, across a lot of tracks, it makes a difference. But it's, doing just subtle things here. I'll play it back and this is all right. Yeah, I'll play it back, these back, and you can sort of hear what I've got so far. All right, so I've got my Subtractive EQ first, then I've got kind of these special effects, the virtual console collection, kind of special processing, non-linear kind of stuff going on to give it some, extra color. Same with the virtual tape machine plugin. Now let me talk about the next thing I like to do is some compression. And I'm going to do compression a little bit different. Just to show you a bunch of different plugins, a little bit different on each of these. So with the Rode NT2 one, first thing I'm going to do is use the H-comp from Waves. What I want to do is, specifically with this compressor, just do a very small amount of compression. For acoustic guitar, there's it's kind of you know, an instrument that does both, kind of depending on your song. It kind of adds in some kind of percussion kind of sound with a lot of the strumming, but it also adds in some kind of harmonic and you know, some kind of extra musical sound by the individual notes that are being played with the chords. So what I want to do here with the H comp is using kind of a ratio around 2 or 3 with a fast attack and fast release. Take just the smallest amount off the transient of the acoustic guitar playing. So what this is going to do is kind of level out the whole track, so that the attack on the strum and kind of the percussion nature of the signal, I'm going to kind of take that just the smallest amount off the transients, and so you can hear it what I'm doing here. So what you have to do is play around with the threshold and watch. You just want the smallest amount of gain reduction to take off. I'm just going to play around with some of these analog settings also. That's a cool thing about the H comp, is similar to the virtual console collection and VTM, adding in some analog color. This adds some color of its own based on how different kinds of hardware compressors will color the sound coming in, and not just change the dynamics, but also, you know, I can hear on this one kind of some high frequencies are being taken out. So I like the second one, so I'll stay with that. I'm going to do a similar kind of processing over here, and for this one I'm going to pull up the vintage compressors. This is from Native Instruments, and this is a model of an 1176 compressor. What's cool about that is you have a really fast attack time, and you can control the release time and make it fast as well. So I'm going to do the same sort of processing as what I was doing over here with fast attack, fast release, for the purpose of just taking a little bit off the transients of the strumming. So let me play this one back and show you how to do that. It's too much. This is a very small amount of compression I'm adding in. Just doing some cool things to the signal. Apart from just doing the dynamics, it's adding some color too. I'm just using a 4:1 ratio here, the smallest ratio available on this compressor from Native Instruments and Soft Tubes. Alright, so let's see what I've got so far. What this is going to do, you can see on the meters, is kind of the peaks are going to get evened out over the signal when I bypass these. Cool. So that was one kind of compression that I was showing you with the fast attack, fast release. What that's going to do is really control the transients of the strumming. The next kind of compression that I'll do them right back to back. And what I'm going to do, I'll pull up another Waves plugin here. How about the Renaissance compressor? And what I'm going to do is, with another kind of ratio 3 to 4, what I'm going to do is set this up with the opto, and I'll play around with some of the different settings. What I'm going to try and do here with a slower attack and a slower release is kind of control the sustain of the guitar. What I'll do is probably bring down the threshold, bring up the gain, and what that's going to do is make the overall increase the overall level of the signal now, so that it will be more present in my mix. So let me do that here. You can hear when I kick it back in, what it's done is kind of brought up the whole overall level so that it cuts through the mix better and adds a lot more of that sustain to the instrument and the notes and the chords that I'm playing. Play it from the beginning and put the compressor in, you can hear it. As soon as I take it out, you've lost that sustain in the performance. So that the Renaissance compressor is very versatile. It can be used for all different kinds of instruments and stuff like that. So that's really cool. I'm going to do the same sort of compression now for the other acoustic guitar channel, where the purpose of it is to kind of bring up the sustain of the instrument, and you do that kind of with a compressor that has a slower attack time versus one that has a fast attack time, fast release. What I'm going to go for is that slow attack, and you bring up the volume. So before I was using the vintage compressor 1176. Now I'm going to use the vintage compressor LA2A model. This is also from Native Instruments, and they collaborated with Soft Tubes. And this kind of combination has actually been around for a really long time and popular, where you use an 1176 compressor followed by an LA2A compressor. So this is going back to the hardware days that, there's lots of mixing engineers that use this kind of thing where you do the 1176 first and the LA2A, and use the 1176 to kind of control those initial transients, and use the LA2A to kind of bring up the overall level. The LA2A is a great compressor for adding in kind of that smooth nature to the signals that go through it. There's pretty basic controls. You really just control the compression using this peak reduction knob over here, and then you can bring up the gain over here. There's some extra settings on this compressor that I'm not really going to use, but I'll play it back and show you how to use it. So that's what I've done so far. And all of this I've done just with some subtractive equalization, some special kind of effects, console and tape machine emulations, then some different kinds of compressors. The first kind of compressor was done to kind of control the transient of the strumming. The next one was to bring up the sustain of the instrument, and I've done all this without even adding any boosting any with the EQ. So I'm going to do that next, and the next thing will be then to use some kind of processors that will shape the kind of, especially the high end of the signals coming in. So for the first one, let me see what I got here. So I came in on the Neve model. So why don't I go ahead and use the Waves Neve EQ. So this is the EQ. The VEQs, both the 3-band and the 4-band, are known for, not just the Waves emulations, but going back to the Neve hardware, is really known for its high end, for being really smooth, and adding that extra air, adding that extra presence into your whatever signal goes through it. So that's why I'm going to use the Neve coming in here for this application. Again, you can roll out any low end that's kind of creeping into your signal. If you want, this is where you can start boosting some of the kind of that low mid area if you want to add in that body to your acoustic guitar. Just do that subtly. Now what I might do is see if there's any frequencies I want to take out here. Yeah, I don't think I like this one. So what I'm going to do is use a high Q setting. Pull this one out, just down a couple dB. I start looking for frequencies that add in that upper mid presence. Yeah, I'm starting to like that. I like the 6K setting best, and I've rather than a high shelf, I've switched it to so that's only boosting around this frequency rather than all the frequencies above it. What you can do also is come back here with put in a high pass filter or a low pass filter. Excuse me. Make sure you don't have excessive high end coming through. So let's see what I've done here. Here that sounds kind of muddy, especially compared to what I've done here. Now, let's see what I've got. I came in with the SSL model, so why don't I just bring up the SSL EQ channel. This is another one from Waves. I'm going to do a similar sort of thing where I'm going to cut some low end out here just in case, pull a little bit out the high end as well. Maybe see if there's anything down here that I want to take out or anything like that. Let me boost this. Look for a frequency I don't like. And I think about boosting around 3K again. Maybe something around 6 for this one too. Let's hear out what I've done. Alright, so I like what I've done. Let's hear it. This is the raw signals coming in. See how this sounds in the mix. One thing I haven't done yet, because I haven't been playing it back, is I'm running Pro Tools 8, and there's some delay compensation that I need to make up for. So if you're running, Pro Tools 9 or Pro Tools 10, it has automatic delay compensation. If you're not really sure what that is, what these plugins are doing is some of these, especially like the virtual tape machines, adds a fair amount of delay in to your signal. So when you're mixing and you add it in, what it's going to do is your computer needs some time to process the signal, so that then after it comes out of the processor, it's delayed by a specific number of samples. And the number of samples is down here that you can see. If you hold Command, click, and you can see these different ones, the delays, volume. You can kind of go through, and you'll see the delay that's going on. So let me switch back over here and show you what you can do to compensate for that. So you can go to nudge right here, and if you turn on, make sure you have this turned on. Over here, this is the keyboard control for the edit window. What you can do is I'm going to go in to where I've got at the start, and I've got it on grid set up for Pro Tools. And what I'm going to do is make sure, so for the Aura track, it's delayed by 1883 samples. So then what you need to do, if you're going to compensate for that, is you can nudge it. This is just one way to do it, 1883. I'm going to nudge it back by on the keyboard pressing down in the bottom right-hand corner of your keyboard next to the M is there's an arrow that you can use. It's on the comma thing, and if I zoom in, what you can see is by pressing it, what I'm going to do here is nudge it. So now what I've done is I've shifted it back in time. Oops. I need to come up here. It was 1883. Cool. Now when I nudge it, it'll go that many. It's gone that many samples back. So that one won't be in time. Now what I need to do is look at the next one. It's 2010 samples of delay. So what I'll do is put in 2010 up here. That many samples of delay. And I've come up here. I've shifted it back that many samples, so that now when I play it back, even though the processors are adding the delay, what it's going to do is it's going to play in time with the song. So let me play it back and you can hear it. So I really like that. I can definitely hear the acoustic guitars cutting through the mix now where they weren't before. It was kind of had a hard time of hearing them at first because there was kind of a lot of low mid-range to their sound, and now I've taken a lot of that out and added some high end so it's clear. It cuts through and I really like that. But what I'm going to do just to wrap things up is talk about some bus processing with the acoustic guitars. So I do this a lot on all of other instruments, from drums to almost anything I'm mixing. So this is going to be the acoustic bus. And what I'll do is set these up. I'm going to send these out to, how about bus 5-6? Bus 5-6. What I want to do is just control their volume on a single channel. So I'm going to rename this actually too. Call it the acoustic guitar bus. You'll see that it shows up now as the send. And what I want to do is make sure that both the levels are basically about the same here when I play them back. Go up a little bit. I'm actually going to do, just for the sake of processing, is pan these out on the individual tracks, but then pan them back in the stereo to the spot that I want them in the mix. So I'll show you that. Starting out wide in the stereo here. Cool, so I like that. I'm gonna next thing I'm gonna do is why don't I throw on the mix bus plugin. This is kind of to complement the virtual channels VCC. There's a virtual mix bus plugin as well, and I'll try out some different ones. I think I'm gonna go ahead and use the RC2 because I really think that one adds kind of smooths out the signal, and I want that kind of make sure that the high end that I've boosted doesn't become too harsh, but I'll try some other ones. Sometimes I like the API or the Trident one as well. I'll stick with the Trident. I like that. You can even boost up some of the kind of color by using the drive. All right, I like that. What I want to do now that I've kind of got these going on a bus, add a little bit extra compression. And I'm going to use the Renaissance Axe compressor. This is a very simple compressor. There's designed specifically by Waves to be used for guitars, electric guitars, or you can even use it for acoustic guitars. Basically, just has a threshold that controls the amount of when the compressor starts to kick in. You have an attack. I'm fine with leaving it around 3 to 5 is good. And then sometimes you have to watch the gain, make sure you're not increasing it the volume too much, and then just play around with the threshold so you see your gain reduction on this meter right here. It's just adding just that little extra compression at this point in the signal chain, so that it really evens out the level of the signal, kind of boosts up the sustain a little bit even more than what I was doing before. Another plugin that I really like to use at this point is the Oxford Inflator. This is a Sonics plugin, and it does its own kind of weird special effect. It's difficult to describe, so I'll play it back and kind of bring it in and out. What I usually like to do actually is turn this, this is the input kind of clipping, and what I'll do is bring up the input, bring down the output, so it's kind of unity gain staging, and bring up the effect. And what you'll see here by doing this, where I brought up the input, turn off the input clip, is that then the effect you'll see is larger. The band split is basically just so that it's kind of doing the effect in different bands of the signal rather than across the whole thing or wideband. And I'll turn it in and out so you can hear what's going on. So this is no effect. To me, what that's doing is it's taking those guitars, and it's what it's doing, it's adding some kind of presence to it. But what I hear it doing is taking the guitars and bringing them kind of further back in space, and bringing them really right up close to my face when I'm listening to them like this. It brings them forward in the mix, helps them cut through, and kind of increases the volume without kind of increasing it increases the overall volume without increasing kind of the peak of it. So I'll pull it in and out and you can hear it again. This slider over here, if you want to add a little bit extra high end or even take out some of the high end, that's what you can do with the curve, and I'll show you that just a little bit so you can hear what it does, but I'm going to pretty much keep it at unity. That's more high end. So why don't I play this back now with the full mix? You can start to hear how it's doing. I'll mix in the guitars. So I really like that. Play it back, kind of mute it, pull it in and out so you can hear. Without the acoustic guitars. So this is what I started with, and I'll just go through and you can hear each step along the way now. So I really like what that's doing, sitting well in the mix. I've added some, kind of go over what I've done. I added some equalization right out of the gate again. Pull out the frequencies I didn't like. Added in some special effects, and then I added the compressors in. First thing is to kind of tame the transients. Next thing is bring up the sustain. Then I brought in my EQs, kind of shaped the frequencies. I added some bus processing on this acoustic bus auxiliary channel right here. Added in that kind of extra color again. Did a little bit more compression. Added in this other special effects plugin. It's kind of the Oxford inflators, known for kind of that magic kind of plugin that just makes everything sound better. I kind of agree with that. Just to play things out at the end, what I'll do is add in kind of some mix processing across the whole mix, like you would have maybe for if you were doing some kind of mastering or something like that. So you can really hear how it starts to sound when you have how those acoustic guitars are going to sound in a real mix. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. You learned a lot, picked up some tips and tricks. If you're interested in seeing how I specifically recorded these guitars, please check out my other video, because you'll be able to see how I did that with the mic placement for the Rode NT2, and then also with a Fishman Aura, and hear more about that pedal. Other than that, let me just play it back. You can hear the mix now. It's going to be a little bit louder, so you might want to turn down your computer speakers a little bit. But this is the full mix, and I'll just play it out for a few bars so you can hear how those acoustic guitars are now cutting through the mix and sit well for this song.